Jacob, Ryan, excited to be here to have this conversation. I lead product and platform engineering at Altimetrik. What it means is engaging with our customers, understanding their business challenges and their business needs, and applying digital solutions to help them realize those business needs. We don't take a technology perspective in it. We look at what's the business problem or the need and see technology as the means to accomplish that business goal. So that's where my focus is. And obviously it's enabled by modern technologies and our digital business methodology, which is a patented way of most optimally applying technology to achieve those business objectives. When we think about what is digital business, essentially the objective of the business remains same. Let's take an example. If you are a bank who are into the business of servicing mortgages, that business remains the same. For decades, banks have been servicing mortgages where you get a statement in an envelope in your mailbox, and you look at your statement, you're writing a check, you put it in an envelope, USPS delivers it, it works the same. But there are three aspects in it. One is, what is the operational cost of doing it outside of digital technologies? And what's the experience for the consumers in availing that service? By transitioning to digital business, we are addressing some of these challenges simultaneously by applying digital technology. End-to-end workflow or user experience is automated using digital technologies. So if I'm a consumer, all I need to have is a mobile app on my phone. I can see my statements, I can automate my payments. And by doing so, we are reducing so much of the manual back office work that is happening in a bank, thus optimizing their cost and increasing their profitability in servicing mortgages. That's just one example, but we could extend that example to many industries and use cases, and this continues to evolve from a point where someone edits and creates standardized templates and statements are generated from it, to applying large language models like ChatGPT today, where the system itself is smart enough to draft the structure of a mortgage statement. Great question, right? So when we look at digital business, there are different ways to approach it, and every organization takes a different pattern or an approach to solve it. Here at Altimetrik, what we have done is we have come up with our patented digital business methodology, which is based on a decade of experience, solving customer challenges using digital solutions. So primarily, it's a structured process where we all start with clearly defining a quantifiable business case. For example, if I take the same example of mortgage processing, if 15% of the consumers are engaging through digital platform and 85% of your consumers are still using paper and envelope and stamps, the business problem there is, how do we roll out a solution where we could transition up to 70 to 80% of consumers onto our digital platform? And the end benefit of that result is going to be reducing their operating cost by say 30 to 40%. So we start with that clear definition of it. The next part is, to achieve those goals, we cannot operate in the same workflow. A payment processing or closing out a loan or whatnot happens very differently in a manual workflow versus a digital workflow. So we kind of have to redefine how the modern digital workflow should be. The classic example for it is, prior to introduction of ATMs, We still went to the bank, interacted with a teller, and withdrew cash from our account. But that workflow changed significantly with the introduction of automated teller machines. So when we apply digital business methodology in every aspect of the business, that workflow needs to be optimized itself to lend into the digital way of doing things. Then to roll out it, that's where the technology comes into play. Yes, this is a modern workflow. It's going to bring all these benefits, but we still have to apply the technology and build that solution out, right? So that comes the third part, where we look at how we collaborate technology and business to bring that solution. At Altimetrik, we look beyond transactional aspects of it. Like when we look at the system is going to say, I have 8 million mortgages for which I need to receive payments. So many payments are made on time. There are delayed payments and all of that. That is a historical information. It tells us what happened a week ago, yesterday, or an hour ago, at best what happened a minute ago. We take it one step beyond, where we bring in all this data, the customer data, transactional data, behavior of customer, all of that, and we are able to predict based on the information that we have on hand, or the data that is residing in our SSOT, what percentage of our customers are expected to default on their loan payments. So that's where building that single source of truth and creating those data sets and being able to bring actionable intelligence on the data sets becomes important in a digital business. And taking it to the last step is, we can predict what's going to happen. Are there things that we could proactively do to prevent them? So if we are able to predict, say 0.2% of our customers are going to default consistently for 3 payments, is there something that we could do wherein our teams can reach out to the customer and rework their loan? Maybe they went a little bit aggressive. They are on a 10-year mortgage amortization. Switch them over to a 20-year or 30-year amortization. With their increasing expenses, they are still able to keep up with their mortgage payment rather than default on it and end into a foreclosure. So bringing in those recommendations that system is able to bring to the play, and with this, it expands new business models and opportunities, right? So typically organizations are siloed. Even within banks, the mortgage division may or may not talk to the auto loan division versus a personal loan division. How do we stitch it all together, understand the consumer behavior, upsell, cross-sell, and open up new digital models? This entire gamut of things is what completes the digital business methodology. With the lack of digital methodology, historically, technology organizations have looked at these problems as silos. Hey, you want us to build a mobile app? Here is a mobile app that solves one part of the business problem. Or there are consumers who are defaulting. Oh, I need to know what percentage of my consumers are defaulting. Let's build a database. Let's build a report for it that solves one small piece of the puzzle. Where digital methodology makes the difference is it looks at business end to end, and it's providing a solution for the entire business to be optimal, robust, future proofed, rather than solving problems in silos. So digital business methodology in itself starts with defining the problem statement concisely in a measurable fashion, followed by defining the workflow that happens in a digital landscape. With that workflow, we apply technology to automate it, which generates core data assets in a single source of truth. Then the data becomes the source from which we could arrive at new business models and business solutions based on the single source of truth. So it provides an entire life cycle for this through the digital business methodology.
Journey.
It's a great question. Digital business methodology is not specifically catered for a company at a certain maturity level. Right? The whole objective of this methodology is to help organizations at different maturity levels, and yet they should be able to accomplish their goals using the methodology. What would vary is the scale of the problems that they want to tackle in iterations, and how fast they would get there. But methodology in itself is applicable for organizations of all shapes and sizes and maturity levels. That's a great question. For almost a decade, the industry has been challenged with these two paradigms, right? There is digital transformation, there is digital business. Are they similar? Are they different? And how do I pick and choose which one? They certainly, digital transformation and digital business are completely two different approaches. When we look at digital transformation, it is more of uh, um, let us solve everything at once kind of an approach, where we are taking a large enterprise and we are trying to slowly transform the entire organization over a long period of time. So it takes much longer to do. It's a lot more expensive to prove out, and there is a lot of uncertainties of the result after that cycle is completed. Whereas digital business methodology takes a different approach. Rather than looking at transforming the entire organization, we pick specific problems that are candidates for digital business, and we directly go from either a clean slate to a digital business slate, or take the current state, pick the things that are applicable for digital business, build on top of it, and get to a digital business state, rather than being concerned about transforming the entire organization or having to wait until everything else is transformed. So it's a much faster way of getting to the market with digital business proposition compared to a transformation exercise, and it is also done in quick iterations, so the organizations can realize value for investment much faster. That's a great question. People historically, organizations have taken this approach of doing a monolithic or a wholesale transformation compared to a bite-sized approach. A classic example could be an enterprise wants to unlock the value of data. They have data in their ERP systems, their CRM systems, transactional systems, whatnot. The traditional approach would be to, I'm going to take 2 to 3 years, I'm going to build this data lake and bring every single piece of data in my enterprise into my data repository, and then we will figure out how can that data help my business, which in itself means over a period of 3 to 5 years, the organization spends tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in bringing all this data into one repository before they even figure out what is the value that they want to realize out of that data. Whereas in a bite-sized approach, rather than asking what are all the data sets that are in the enterprise, we are asking what are the top 3 problems that the enterprise wants to solve. An enterprise might say, the biggest problem that I want to solve is visibility into my AR outstanding. I want to know at any given point in time, what's the cash flow into the organization, when is it expected, where is it expected from, and can I predict the accuracy of my cash flow into the organization? Or to optimize the value of their supply chain, they would want to know what is the inventory cycle and where does every item in the inventory sit there or when it is expected. So we take such specific business problems and go after the source systems and integrate only required data and within a span of 2 to 3 months, we are able to produce results and build on top of it that delivers the value for the time and investment that we spend on this problem. So essentially, in a bite-sized approach, if we literally take that term bite-sized approach, we are not trying to put the whole apple in our mouth and figure out how to manage it. Rather, we are enjoying one bite at a time, and we are realizing the sweetness of it. It's the exact analogy that applies in the way we build solutions as well. As the organizations grow, especially when organizations goes through complex M&As, inherently there is a level of complexity that is introduced into the business. For example, a global manufacturing organization which has gone through decades of M&As might end up with 20 different ERP systems, 10 different CRM systems and whatnot. And we are not attempting to solve that landscape because that is the underlying complexity. Rather, we bring a digital layer on top of it that kind of becomes the facade which is going to talk to all this underlying ERP CRM systems. We would have to introduce certain things like a master data management of sorts, so that we have a consistent way of identifying their data assets, be it customer, product, vendor, whatnot, and build the digital solution on top of it, so that we don't have to redefine their entire technology landscape. Rather, we introduce a digital layer on top of it that solves the business needs without having to shake up the entire landscape. That is part of the digital business platform. That in itself isn't, because there is one or more digital layers we will introduce depending upon whether it's a data solution, whether it is an consumer facing solution, whatnot. It's basically a layer on top of the existing complex ecosystem that abstracts everything and provides that business interface.
Get started.
So in terms of process to get started, be it a customer who is a digital native or a customer who is interested in becoming digital native, they may not be yet, they could be in different levels of maturity. The initial process kind of is very consistent, remains the same. So typically from Altimetrik, practitioners like us, we engage with the customer with a small team, a SWAT team of sorts, which we refer as a run-ahead team. Our objective is to coach the customer on digital business methodology and help them define those business problems and define the workflow and the core data sets. That remains the same. The implementation of the digital business methodology is going to vary a little bit depending upon their maturity level. If they are a digital native on their own, they might have all the technology components in place. They would leverage our methodology, our expertise to build a solution. So we work with customers who are digital natives, be it an Airbnb of sorts, where they already have these components in place. We're bringing the methodology and we implement it. But there are also customers who do not have the underlying the building blocks, so to say. They may not be in cloud. They may not have modern practices like agile, DevSecOps, and all of that, wherein there is a certain foundational element that goes into helping them become a digital native. That would be a step that is different, but outside of it, the methodology itself will remain very consistent, whether they are a digital native or they are not. When we look at different industries and if we try to analyze what is common across multiple industries, there are two things that stands out today. One is every industry in their own way are trying to unlock their potential in their data. What is that they could do differently to optimize their business using data? The second thing every industry is trying today is, speed to market to their consumers. Every change, every business process change, every product that they are trying to release, the speed to market matters the most. So these are the two things that I see consistently across industry. If you look at unlocking the potential of data, I mean, retailers have been doing this for quite some time now. Sometimes it's in a way they know more than our buying habits than we realize ourselves. That's with the retailers. It is, if we look at banking and fintech, the use cases like fraud detection has really matured over the years, wherein even before we realize, they suspect a transaction in our credit card, and they are able to proactively approach us, block it, and proactively approach us, right? So every industry is trying to apply this data and trying to understand more and more about human behavior, and they're also able to take proactive actions. So unlocking the potential of data is consistent across all the industries, and it's with the advent of more and more applying language models and advanced machine learning models. This is only going to increase over a period of time. And with this, today, if we take the same and apply it on time to market, we have seen that large language models are capable of generating code for software engineering. They are capable of designing, certain things across industries, wherein the consumer expectation on time to market is going to accelerate more and more. So these would be common denominators across all industries for years to come, is how we see it. So the digital business methodology is adopted in multiple industries, so to say. We'll take a couple of examples. In manufacturing industries, especially post-pandemic, the biggest challenge is connecting their demand in terms of their finished goods demand all the way to their inventory, to their manufacturing, to the raw materials. And without connecting all the dots, having a single source of truth, applying the methodology to, what are my top priorities for the organization in terms of my inventory value or cash flow or cost of goods, they were struggling with that, right? And post pandemic, it has only increased. And with this methodology, they've seen a lot of use cases being solved. For example, tracking price changes, right? And manufacturing organization gets into a contract with an OEM. They commit X dollars per unit for a finished product, but over a period of time, the raw material price has changed, and due to unforeseen events in different parts of the world, they have to shift their suppliers from one region to another region, which changes the cost of raw materials in that region. So we are able to bring this methodology, create that end-to-end visibility, and proactively help organizations to track price changes. So similarly, if we look at different industries like healthcare, there is a lot of advancements that are happening in cellular biology, wherein they are able to 3D print cells and apply formularies on the 3D print cells even before they get to animal or human trials. So with that, looking at a cell and how individual cells are responding to a formulary, it's a manually intensive exercise that is today replaced with artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms that could interact directly with electron microscopes and see the patterns and predict the impact of formulary on cells. So this no industry is far away from adopting some of those, and the use cases are extremely interesting, and the applications are extremely interesting as well. Uh, Specific to enabling innovation, the value that the digital business methodology brings to play is providing ability for organizations to experiment at a rapid pace, experiment at a minimal cost. So those are the two uh, biggest challenges when it comes to funding innovation, right? It is not part of the existing budget that is tied into my revenue stream, but I need to set aside a budget to innovate. It has, if it's taking too long and they don't see results, it's difficult to continue in that track. If they cannot fail fast, learn and improve, that's a challenge by itself. Those are the two important factors in innovation cycle. That's exactly the problem that digital business methodology solves, not just for innovation but for a full-fledged implementation. But it has exponential value when it comes to innovation, right? Narrow down your problem statement, make it very concise so that it could be experimented and proven whether it would work or not within a short period of time. Collect the data, apply the data to make decisions, and that's where it unleashes its maximum value. Absolutely. So when we look at the methodology, we talked about three or four major components, and the digital business platform is the enabler of those components. So when we look at methodology, we are looking at a single source of truth where we could integrate data from the enterprise. We are looking at end-to-end workflows. We are looking at rapidly building products and deploying them. And all of these requires foundational elements. That's where the digital business platform comes into play. With the platform, we are able to accelerate digital business by applying the methodology. Without the platform, organizations end up building these foundational elements over and over again, reinventing the wheel, or they are operating without the foundation. Hence, they are not able to unleash the potential of speed and repeatability even with the methodology. That's where the platform and the methodology, they complement each other. The digital business platform serves as the foundational element driving speed and repeatability. Methodology brings in a proven structured way of doing things, and they complement each other to drive digital business successfully. So there are quite a few sources that Altimetrik by themselves promote on it. There are practitioners like me, who through the events and digital events like this, we share our expertise and knowledge on digital business methodology. Our founder Raj Vatikuti has published couple of books on digital methodology, digital platform. I would recommend the listeners to get hold of the books and go through them. Excellent way to get started about the platform and the methodology. And we'll continue to have more events like this where we collaborate with listeners on these topics.